Traveler, and welcome back to my channel. Now, if you couldn't tell by the way that I intro my videos, you know, the whole greetings weary traveler thing. I'm into fantasy and history. My love for fantasy began when in elementary school and we read the Chronicles of Narnia. That kind of opened the door for me to want to consume all fantasy media from second grade on. Seriously, to this day, I almost exclusively read fantasy books, play fantasy-inspired video games, and watch fantasy shows. So naturally, I have always dreamed of going to a Ren Faire, but just never have for some reason, until this year. So I set out to make my costume myself. An extreme time crunch because I did not know until literally like 5 days before that I was gonna be going. And I acknowledge my costume is definitely not historically accurate whatsoever as to what fabrics would be used in the Renaissance. I think that's okay because literally the slogan of the Ren Faire I went to was where history and fantasy collide, so it's definitely more fantasy inspired than history inspired. Now that that's cleared up, let's look at the plan. So here's the plan. Now this is probably too cringe to post on the internet, but I'm gonna share it anyway. But ever since I was a young teenager and I first played Hearthstone and I saw this lovely lady, I thought to myself, if I lived in a fantasy world, I think I'd want to be a mage. So I want my mage persona to kind of have a special affinity, and I've been trying to decide between more earthy or more cosmic, and ultimately I decided cosmic because I already have a black corset and I feel like that would go better with the latter. I want this to focus more on the skirt because that's what you're gonna be seeing most of anyway. I already have a black cloak that I'm gonna wear over it from a vampire photo shoot I did last Halloween. So for the skirt, I'm envisioning it having 3 layers. For the top layer, I'm picking a black lace to just kind of pull the corset in with the rest of the outfit. The middle layer, I want to do kind of a twilighty color. Yes, exactly like the 2008 movie. And then for the bottom layer of the skirt, I'm picking also black, just to go with the lace and the corset. I also want to carry some potion bottles with me, just so it's like I'm carrying a piece of the heavenly bodies with me at my hip. And I think I'm going to do that by buying some clear Christmas tree bulbs, somehow corking them and attaching them to a chain to kind of clip to my waistband. And one of those potion bottles I definitely want to light up. And I think the way I'm going to do that is buy like some battery powered lights and shove them in there. First thing I need to do is go to Dollar Tree because I know for sure they have all the stuff that I need to make the potion bottles. I think for everything skirt wise, I already have everything I need in my creepy dungeon craft room basement. So without further ado, get in loser, we're going shopping. So I went to Dollar Tree, loaded up my basket with things I needed, and then I headed back home and got to work. So anyway, for my first potion bottle, I want to kind of seem like I had a bottle full of stars plucked directly from the night sky. I kind of filled the bottle with some glitter to kind of make it shimmer like a star would, and I used clear nail polish to kind of spread it around there. In hindsight, I definitely could have used glue for this, but I did not think of that for some reason. So I just filled my basement dungeon with the potent smell of nail salon instead. And then I kind of just swirled that around to spread it all over. I realized that I put too much in it, so then I dumped the excess out onto a salsa lid. So for my second potion bottle, I wanted it to seem like I had taken the night sky itself, bottled it up, and carried it with me. So I used kind of a dark bluish, I mixed it with a kind of shimmery blue and black as well. And there is a little bit of gold glitter in there. I kind of did the same thing, just swirled it around. Then for the lids of the Christmas tree bulbs, I wanted it to look like a cork. So I also bought this sticky cork stuff at Dollar Tree. And I kind of measured out how it was to wrap around the sides. Now I am using fabric scissors for this, and I know that that is a cardinal sin. However, these scissors are old and dull, and I do not use them on fabric anymore, so please do not come for me. Anyways, I cut out the circles and measured them out with a Sharpie, and I stuck them on the top. And then I used a box cutter to kind of cut a slit to put the little loop thing that goes in the Christmas tree ornament, so I'd have something to attach it to kind of hang it from my waist. And then at that point, my bulbs were starting to get kind of dry. And then I took these lights that actually have little stars on them, and I shoved them in the bulb. And then I took some chain and I measured kind of where I would want them to hang at my waist once they were clipped to my skirt. And then I used these tools that I took from my partner's workbench. I think they're called snips. And I cut the chain to length. And then I attached it to these little clips that I found at the craft store. And that's what I was gonna use to secure it to my skirt. And hopefully it would stay. Also, here's my cat Stinky. And then once I got them to the length I wanted, I went ahead and attached them to the bulbs. I kind of measured the excess wire on the one that lights up so that I could tuck the battery pack into my skirt and kind of hide the wire with the chain. So that's what I'm doing here. And then I went ahead and attached it to the little loop thing on the ornament. And I moved on to making the skirt. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I thought I pressed record when I was picking out the fabric, but I did not. So there's no footage of that. But more importantly, I did get this footage of my cat making a nice bed of my fabric. I pulled out my pattern and then I laid out the fabric for the bottom layer of my 3-tiered skirt. I don't know why I was crawling around like that. I never filmed myself cutting out a pattern before, and I didn't realize I did it so strangely. And then I finally go ahead and cut with my designated fabric scissors. And I proceeded to cut out as many panels as I could possibly get from that fabric. After I cut out that first one, I realized I didn't really have a lot of fabric there, so I kind of maneuvered it to cut out as many panels as possible. And I also did the same thing with the second tier of the skirt. Here I'm just using a shorter skirt pattern that I had and doing the same thing, just cutting it out. And about at this point is when I realized, oh shoot, I don't have a lot of fabric here for this layer either. So I decided to fold the pattern in half and kind of do half panels and then sew them together because I was going to be able to get more out of the fabric that way. And then once I got all of my panels cut out of my first 2 layers, I started pinning them together. Once I got all of those pinned, I sat down on my machine and sewed all the panels together. I realized halfway through this that my back really hurts every time I sew. And it's probably because I sit like this the whole time. So then for my 3rd layer, I had this lace tablecloth thing that I got at Spirit Halloween when I was in college. So I measured it to be my waist length. So here's my waistband that I also measured to be my waist measurement. And then here I am sewing through several layers of fabric, praying my needle wouldn't break. It did not. And then I went ahead and hand stitched on the zipper because no matter what I do, when I try to sew a zipper on with the sewing machine, it does not go well for me. And then I decided to add this crescent moon charm that I had. I thought that would be kind of cool if I was able to like pull the skirt up and kind of hook it on. And then I moved on to making my hairpiece. I was getting set up, making sure the camera angle was good, and he was having an existential crisis. My shirt was inside out for this. I measured the top of my head, just so I would know how long to make the chain piece. And then I cut the chain, and look, I found some pliers. And then I attached 2 black hair clips to it because my hair is black and I kind of wanted them to blend in. And then I bought these charms that have little suns and moons on them. And here's me showing them. And then I ripped those off. And then I took those out of the packaging and attached them on, kind of evenly spacing them. They were kind of hard to get undone, but I only own 1 pair of pliers, so here I am using tweezers to kind of help me open the little clasp. Once I finished the hairpiece, I was done with my costume. Look at this mug. I got that at the Ren Faire. So I'm very, very pleased with how the costume came out. My favorite part, obviously, was my cool little light up potion bottle. In hindsight, I definitely did add too much glitter to this because you can't really see the stars inside. However, I still love it, and I still think it gets the point across. Ren Faire was everything I imagined and more. I was a little nervous because it looked like it was gonna rain that day, but it literally only rained on the drive there from the hotel we were staying at, and then it was just kind of cloudy the rest of the day. which is perfectly fine. And I didn't really record much content while I was there. However, my partner did take these two lovely candid pictures of me. While I was there, I had the best lemonade I ever had in my entire life. I saw so many other people with really cool and creative costumes, and I watched an actual like melee sword fight, so that was pretty fun. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. I am really excited because I have a few really cool videos planned coming up. So if you're interested, be sure to like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at Audrionics. But again, thank you so much. Safe travels.